Welcome to the podcast of School Beyond Limitations. In this podcast, you will learn how to guide your child through their school life with the intention to help them find their unique essence that will allow your daughter, your son to live a fulfilled and meaningful life. Where does standardization take us in education? My name is Dr. Martina. I'm the co-founder, CEO and designer of School Beyond Limitations. And if you would like your child to live a fulfilled and happy life, then this may be the channel for you. Well, where does standardization take us? And I think in order to answer this question, we need to understand why is standardization there anyways. There is standardization in place in many national curricula and in many national and also international educational systems. And of course, standardization ensures a certain level of consistency. It allows us to compare students with one another. It allows also teachers to be accountable for what they are doing. It allows us to organize teacher trainings. It allows us to compare one school with the other school. It allows us to compare students of one school with students of another school. And what happens there? It happens that we look at education from a perspective of comparison, from a perspective of putting labels on persons, on the content, on the context, on assessments and all of that. And while in certain ways it may be a possibility of also, taking students accountable because they learn, but they learn because they need to do it in order to achieve their qualifications, in order to do well in their examinations, in order to fulfill a certain expectation that is basically set by, other people. We do not, however, treasure the uniqueness of each person. And this is what I would say, standardization takes us away from humanity. It takes us away from seeing this treasure within each and everyone. It takes us away from understanding that there is more to any human being than what we think. Because if we see the human being out of a perspective that each human being is basically there to bring something specific into reality, and they have an essence, as Sir Ken Robinson always mentioned, they live their element, they live their passion. And whenever there is a passion within somebody, and there is a passion, there is an interest, there is a talent within each and every person, and if we cater for that, then obviously there is no possibility for necessarily standardization, because I can't compare one person with the other person. I actually try within education to help students, what we always say at School Beyond Limitations, to help students reconnect or connect with their inner essence, to help students understand who they really are, what they really have to bring to the surface in the interest of themselves and in the interest of society as a whole. And it all starts from the emotional and spiritual well-being also. If a student sees him and herself as something very special, not more special than any other person, then there is this understanding of appreciation, of self-love, of self-esteem, of self-consideration, of self-appreciation. And once I gratefully appreciate who I am, and that there is something within myself, and education as it is and as I think it should be is there to pull out this beautiful uniqueness within each person. Because if we pull out this beautiful uniqueness within each person, then each person sees that they are important. They are not more important than others. They are extremely important if they are willing to bring that into their reality and in collaboration with others. Because I may bring something and another person brings something else. And in this kind of togetherness and collaboration, we can create something special. And there is also the appreciation towards the others then. There is the understanding that I myself can't create alone. I'm here to create with others in unisono, in kind of togetherness. And as a group, as a team, we can create so much more. And that takes people to feel themselves, to appreciate others. And that leads them to love themselves, to care about themselves and others. And this is emotional education, this is spiritual education, and it's also social education. The understanding that you are there as a member of many others, and the many others are the same important as yourself. So where does standardization take us in education? Does it take us closer to this humanizing kind of approach to education, or does it take us away? It takes us away from that. It is a craft, it is an art, it is more than just a standardized program. It's more than standardized tests. Of course, standardized tests are easy and in some ways also useful. If I measure, for instance, at an entrance test, just the linguistic skills of a person, that may help me understand where that person is, and there a standardized test may be useful. But other than that, I shouldn't limit that on the basis of a standardized test, because each single student is different. And if I expect each single student to perform always the same, then I do not see what that single student can actually offer in the bigger context. And that's why, in my view, and what we are doing at School Beyond Limitations as well, it is so critical to actually see education from a different angle, to see standardization as something that limits us, and standardization may be there in certain moments, but not in order to just label the student. It's there to understand in the first place, so that we can help the student and develop all their holistic skills, social skills, emotional skills, spiritual skills, then cultural skills, also multicultural skills, communication skills, collaborative skills, and so forth, in such a way that we really help this specific student to the best. And not all the standardized approaches are the right approaches for each and everyone. I need to understand the other person. So it's not about standardization, it's about the understanding that all the different tools out there are at my disposal as a facilitator, as a coach, as an educator, as a parent. But in the first and foremost, I need to understand, to get in connection, in relationship with this student, with this child, with a daughter, with my son, so that I understand how can I help and support this young person to the best. And this means that I get away from standardization, that I actually hold all the knowledge within myself, hold all the information within myself, but in the first place, I connect with the other so that the other feels seen, and the student and your daughter, your son feels seen in the first place. And there is no place for standardization anymore then, because I see, and my daughter, my son, my student sees that I do not, I treat them all fairly, but I don't treat them equally, because they are all different. While with one person I may be a little bit more direct. With another person, I need to be more diplomatic. A next person needs to be approached in a softer way. Another person needs more guidance, more clarity, more direction. But in the first place, this other person sees that I see them. I see the way they are. So standardization takes us completely in the wrong direction if we look at the initial question. It takes us into a direction where we dehumanize, I would say, the human being, dehumanize the students, humanize the young people, instead of giving them this understanding that there is a unique essence within themselves everywhere. So I need to let go of the standardization. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It means a lot of engagement. It means a lot of patience. It means a lot of clarity within oneself as a parent, within oneself as a facilitator, as a teacher, as an educator, that I deal with a human being in front of me who I want to connect with themselves in order for them to really bring their unique essence into this world. Because if they bring their unique essence into this world, then they are steady in this society, in a society that requires always more, increasingly more. And if they are, if they acknowledge themselves as a human being, then they don't have self-doubts anymore. They are ready to embrace reality. They are ready to create, to co-create. They are ready to go their own, to walk their own talk, to be, strong within their roots. And they see that they are needed, that their contribution is needed. And that's why education needs to get away from standardization. Education needs to see that there is space to invest in young people. Let's invest in young people so that young people see that they really are taken care of. And that doesn't mean that we want them to be softened. We want them to connect with themselves. We want them to realize that it makes a difference what they do, that they have the power within themselves to co-create, to create their own lives and the lives of others, that they are here to serve, that they are here to bring and to contribute in a very unique and special way. And if they see that happen, then they find themselves happy and confident within themselves, and say, okay, I want to go in that direction. I'm ready to take on responsibility. And what is responsibility? Is to respond to all the different challenges out there with ability, with an understanding that I can do that. And that's again not a standardized approach. That's again a very subtle approach where I learn how to deal with the world around me, how to dwell in this reality in a way that allows me to be and become and remain the creator of my life. And there's one story that I would like to share with you now, because one of our parents, just a few days ago, she mentioned to me, I'm observing my son very carefully when he's with his friends who are not at school beyond limitations. And I notice a big difference between his friends who are attending traditional schools and my son. My son is very reflective. My son always thinks twice when he talks to somebody, in the sense that he uses conscious language, that he's self-directed, that he is a critical thinker, and that he just doesn't do things for the sake of doing things because others are doing them. He actually first and foremost reflects whether this is beneficial for for all of them and for himself. And he sees, she said, that he can be, and he is already a role model. And she was so grateful for that, because she said sometimes we as parents may not see these things, may see that maybe a certain academic achievements have not yet been achieved, while such important skills have been achieved. And she said, I'm so proud of my son, and I'm so relieved that he's got this strength and this power within himself to say no to other people if he sees this is nonsense, and this is what I'm saying about in order to answer the question again, where does standardization take us in education? It takes us nowhere. It takes us into a tunnel without any exit. It takes us into a direction where we get lost. That's why we need to open up again towards seeing the uniqueness within each student. That really requires a lot of skills within parents, within educators, within facilitators and teachers, and the willingness to see the beauty, to see the uniqueness, and to allow that uniqueness to come to the surface, because that will take us into a better future, because our students then will take on the lead and will then be empathetic, loving, caring, and serving human beings. And if you think that you would like your child to experience something similar also in school, then maybe you may consider School Beyond Limitations. School Beyond Limitations works in that direction. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of energy that we put into this, but we firmly believe that we need to do that we need to get away from standardization, and yet that students, once they reconnect with themselves, are also able to do certain standardized tests anyway and do well in those. So if you are interested in School Beyond Limitations, then you will find the website in the description, and we are looking forward to meeting you soon in one of our admission processes conversations.
At School Beyond Limitations, we support our students find their unique essence. Feel free to share the content of this podcast with other parents. We are here to show that your children can, indeed, bring their unique essence into life. So, reach out to us if you think that this is what you'd like your daughter, your son to experience, or apply through our website. Also, leave your comments, your questions, or your review about the podcast. Share it with others. And as you know, sharing is caring.